Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Karuna Sarupaya Hare Krishna Prasayate
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Karuna Sarupaya Hare Krishna Prasayate
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Karuna Sarupaya Hare Krishna Prasayate
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Sarupaya Hare Krishna Prasayate
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Narayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Narayana
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Narayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Narayana
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa
Bhagwan Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Bhagwan Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Gopala Govinda Rama
Krishna
Madana Mohana
Hari Bol Krishna
Gopala Govinda Rama
Hari Bol Krishna
Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama
Krishna
Madana Mohana
Hari Bol Krishna
Gopala Govinda Rama
Hari Bol Krishna
Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Hari Bol Krishna Hari Bol Krishna Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana 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 Madana
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Hare Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Hare Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada,
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda, Ananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda, Ananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
Haribol Namaste. Yesterday, I'd just like to recap what we have discussed. It is about the practice of the 9 process of devotional service. What happens if we follow it faithfully? We nurture the love that is in our heart to be connected with doing the will of God and pleasing Him. So through practice, we become, after a while, spontaneous in our engaging in our true natural function as servant of God. Hearing, remembering, bowing down to the Lord, surrendering to the Lord, giving up everything and taking shelter of Lord Krishna, making friends with the devotees of Lord Krishna, the spiritual master, our instructing spiritual master, and those who are practicing sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice, because associating with them encourage us, inspire us. We see them engaging in the 9 process of devotional service. Then we begin to introspect and see ourselves. So there's always a saying that practice makes one perfect. So the main process of hearing is the prime benediction for all of us. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda came in the age of Kali Yuga to save the most fallen. The most fallen. But we think we are not fallen. We think we are not drowning in this ocean of material misery. We think we can hack it out and survive on our own, protect ourselves. So we don't have this understanding and feeling of humbleness because we try to still fight it out even though we cannot succeed. So when Lord Nityananda comes, Lord Chaitanya comes, through the instruction, through the pastimes that's being narrated by our instructing spiritual master, their activities, we're not interested. They come here to save the most fallen. Who is the most fallen? Someone who is separated from loving remembrance of the Supreme Lord, who is very selfish, who doesn't know God, who does not experience God's pleasure upon him, and misguided by the influence of material nature, the mind, the desires in the mind, because of our activities wherein we are responsible for our action. It has covered us. And activities that are sinful makes our heart harder. Because when a person is so much engrossed, his love, natural love to serve is transformed into lust. What is lust? It is an intense desire to get something, to be satisfied through experiencing it through the senses, through gross matter. And it's all about a person who's drowning in this material misery. And he's drowning, he needs air. But instead of trying to get air, trying to get out of that ocean, he gets more, he's put in a situation where he drowns. So when someone comes, the spiritual master comes and try to save that person, he's not interested because he's mind-driven. You know what's mind-driven? You become a slave of your mind, the desire. Your master is the mind. You're not able to rein the mind and hold it and direct it, and the horses directed towards the goal, to be loving the Supreme Person. We chant the holy names. We listen to the pastimes of Lord Krsna. What is our goal? Why are we doing this? To be situated in loving remembrance of the Supreme Person, to be connected with His love, His will, and desire to do His will. Meaning, all of us here are children of God, children of Krsna, and He's inviting us to go back home. Now we ask this question with ourselves. What is our interest? What is our interest? Because we are so selfish, our interest is about ourselves, fulfilling our desire, doing what we want. But because we are not self-sufficient, no matter what we do, we will not succeed. We try to be independent and try to just focus this, what is inseparable from us, this natural tendency to serve and love, and it's just focus upon ourselves. And that is not our natural function and our natural transcendental essence. So, the main awareness that one can experience in this educational, material world wherein we are put in to dominate it because we want to do our own will. But sadly, we cannot control it. So that is our interest. We have become so conditioned for so long. And when we become aware of the suffering of this world, and then we stop. Why is this happening to me? Where will I go? What shelter do I have? Where can I give my heart, my life, and take refuge? When one becomes intelligent, then he seeks the truth. And through the mercy of Lord Krsna and the spiritual master, fortunately he comes in contact with the confidential, loving servant of the Supreme Person, the saintly person. What is a saintly person? A saintly person is someone who has no material desires, who is free from material desires. So we can see here now what entangles us, what separates us from having a pure, undivided, focused, loving surrender to the Supreme Person. It is our selfishness. And how can we become free from it? By humbleness and receiving God, receiving His embrace, His teaching, His mercy. But the mind is not interested because we have identified with the mind. Our shelter is the mind. That's why the process of mantra meditation is to draw the mind away from matter that separated us from this sweetness of embracing and being protected by God's pleasure upon us and His love. We are all seeking for that. But if we are not in the direction of doing the will of God, then we have a problem. Because we begin to live a lifeless life. The spirit soul who is living becomes lifeless, empty-hearted, sad, lonely, disturbed, distressed. That is the situation of all of us who are trying to play Lord in this material world. So we can check that and assess our situation. What do you really like? What do you really want? Will you pursue a goal that in the end you will not succeed? It's so obvious, all the things that you have achieved, all the labels, teacher, PhD, doctor, lawyer, all the land, all the money, everything, you'll have to leave it behind. So where can we find shelter? It's from connecting our life with the love, the desire, the pleasure of God. So I'll read here the pastimes of the gopis feeling of separation to give clarity to what we're doing. That when we are in this meditation of remembering the holy names, the pastimes of Lord Krsna, we are connected with Him because our heart will be banking on or gliding towards that shelter of longing for protection, longing to be with God, the desire to be feeling a longingness. You're feeling, I want to be with you, my Lord. And then you ask that, we ask that, assess that in our situation. Do we have that longing? Can we love God? Can we know God? Yes, we can. And it is exemplified and being shown to us by the pure loving servants of God, the gopis of Vrindavan. That even though Lord Krishna left Vrindavan, went to Dwarka to do His mission, to eradicate all the sinful leaders and kings or demons who are burdened to this material world, making it hard for everybody to live peacefully and to establish religion. What is religion? Religion is our eternal relationship of rendering loving service to the Supreme Person. So that is the reason Lord Krishna came here to enjoy His pastimes and to deliver us. Because if we surrender to Him at the time of Dwarpa, at the time He came 5,000 years ago, the process is surrendering to the Lord, loving Him. And in Kali Yuga now, our situation is that we are so disturbed, everybody's combative, the sound we hear enthuses us to quarrel, to fight, to be envious, to be hankering, to take shelter in misery. Misery loves company. That's why you see here the news? Every day I open the news. Somebody killed someone. Somebody get bumped by a car. You know? It's all about the miseries of this world. And we have become conditioned. Every morning I listen, I get flowers there. Everybody's listening to to this guy who tries to project the value of the news that happened. And what is that value? What is the value of that? It's about the misery that one experienced when he was trampled by the giant truck. And not only that, while enjoying, somebody stabbed him. And the way they present it, instead of just telling to people, there's something that happened here at 9 o'clock in the morning in Kibawe. Somebody got bumped because it's so dark. He was bumped by this motorcycle. But no, the way they present it, as if it's what you need. No, they hype it. Naata diri sa Kibawe karon, di ba? Na nadugmok, napatay. Kini inyong paminawon, di ba? Naman, di ba? Kayo naman, ho nga. My mom, every day she listens to the radio. Instead of they presenting it, they hype. But look closely. What is your meditation when you hear that? Somebody gets killed. Somebody gets raped. Somebody gets COVID and die. And you meditate upon that. And they hype it. So you're hearing, what you're meditating is about the miseries of this world. No wonder we're all miserable. Because we're listening from this guy who's so crazy and stupid, who's a moron, trying to drive us to listen to the words that he wants to project that will give us shelter. Because that is his business. The more you listen to them, you can hear the ads. And they earn from you, They try to put you in misery and take the money out your pocket. And we're there listening every day. That's what the news is all about. The sound you hear, the meditation. But there's also some things that are positive and not, Like in Madana, we have this radio about plant care, about having a good vibes, environment. But that is not the meditation and solution that is needed. What is needed is an establishment of our loving relationship with God. To be a saintly person. What do they tell you sa news parate? This politician whom we voted is stealing money from us. But prior to be voted, they were paid. And then now they're grumbling. How come he's not doing his work? That's what we hear every day. Every day, that is our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, you ask this question, are you happy? Are you fulfilled? You want to pursue that life? Then there's a solution. Because we're so fallen, Lord Krishna comes to save the most fallen, us. But we must be humble enough to receive. Just like, do you know why ambassador comes to the Philippines? For example, ambassador of Russia comes to the Philippines. There's who's that guy who's very close to the Prime Minister Putin? If the ambassador comes in the airport, the president puts up a red carpet. There's band playing. There's the military watching him, The moment he steps, they come, put garland upon him. Why? Because the president of the Philippines, the Filipino people, wants to have a relationship with the Republic of Russia, Putin. So if we accept the ambassador, I cannot remember his name anymore because it's so hard to pronounce it. And I'm not interested who he is. No, not the Russian who's here. If, for example, he's received with welcome, with care, and the moment he steps down, they go immediately to a banquet and, and introduce him. How magnanimous the Russian government, and he's telling it to all of us, and they have this, banquet, and they drink and make friends. The government official comes, the Secretary of Defense comes, the PNP chief comes, shake hands, everybody, and puts him in a very nice, not suite, Emerald Hotel or Diamond Hotel. That when he comes there, when he eats, the only thing, if he can only be carried, put there. People will do that. But if if the Philippine government, our president and all his officials take care of him nicely, receive him and welcome him, then put in, my Filipino friends. There's disaster. Immediately they send them all the food they need and medicines. Send them all the vaccines for COVID. There's someone who's trying to destroy the Philippine government. Send the military. Give them arms. Protect them. So there's an amiable relationship, friendship. But if the ambassador comes, nobody's there, only the garbage collector. Di ba? And everybody's looking at him. What are you doing here in the Philippines? Di ba? You're not allowed. And then when he comes here, all the people there, with this placard, Russian, go home, Russian, go home. We don't like you. What will happen? Yeah? We won't have a lasting relationship of friendship with Putin and the Russian people. It's also like that. Krsna sends his ambassador. Haridas Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Swami, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda. He gives us Krsna. He gives us life through the teachings that Krsna wants us to have, to love Him. But we're not interested. We're not interested. We turn our back. That's why Jesus tells us, if you reject me, the Father who sent me will reject you. If you see me, then you see the Father who sent me. So it's a relationship. So now what should be how do we address, how to relate to God? By humbly, sincerely receiving His gift, His embrace, His refuge, His love, that will give fulfillment to our heart, that will take us out from this ocean of misery. Because He's the supreme controller. He loves us. When we speak of God, Krsna, the supreme person, our eternal friend, He has unconditional love for us. He loves us even though we don't love Him. He loves us even though we don't want to, we hate Him. He loves us. He comes. He embraces us. His love for us is unconditional. Everything He does or He engages in is about love. But because we don't know what love is, what we experience are the sound we've heard from this, moron speaking, as if authority about the miseries of this world. And we try to eat that for breakfast, for dinner, for lunch, on and on, year out, day out, until we leave this world. Then what life do we have? A life of misery. So I read here the pastimes of the gopis. So we can have a true, clear understanding of what is a lover of God, a devotee of God, what are their focus, their meditation, their activities, and how they relate to God. someone who's loving God. Okay? Not someone who's just trying to make money out of us and using God to take shelter of our tithing, of our services. It's not like that. The gopis' feeling of separation. The gopis of Vrindavan were so attached to Krishna that they were not satisfied simply with the rasa dance at night. The rasa dance was because Krishna danced with them individually. Krishna expanded himself. Just like when Lord Krishna saved the 16,000 princes. How can he marry 16,000 princes? Because he's omnipotent. His power is inconceivable. He expanded himself into 16,000 forms. And each princess whom he married has a palace. And when Narada Muni came to that palace, Lord Krishna in each palace is doing an activity that is different from another palace. So how can we ask, with our mind you cannot figure it out. Because the mind is made of matter. Matter cannot understand what is spirit, transcendental. But through the science of Bhakti Yoga, you can understand that we are all individuals. We are all children of God. And Krishna, the Supreme Person, He is manifested in all forms we see. The atoms in our heart. So if in this material world, material technology can relate to so many people, just like this guy who is in YouTube, he's somewhere out there in a never land under this cave, but he has internet. And he talks. He has this camera. And everybody sees him. He's just one person using the technology coming from God. So, if he can do that, why can God do it? We have this always question, how can he do it? Why will he do it? It's not what you think, what your opinion is irrelevant. What is relevant is God's will. Will be done. Not our will, not our question. Who are we? So when we become humble, how limited we are, how lost we are, then we take shelter of God, who loves us unconditionally. Even though we are moron, assholes, rascals and demons, because He came here to save the most fallen, us. But we are not thinking we're most fallen. We're thinking, I'm pure. I know everything. Even though we're drowning. Just like all these, you go to the market, somebody there who's so drunk drinking this medicinal wine. He's already crawling, in the gutter. And you come near him, he tells you, in my opinion, the problem in the Philippines is that we have a new president. It should be me. And he's drunk, rolling on the mud, and the flies, all around him. So that is our situation, but we think, oh, I'm great. I'm important, We should be experiencing this humbleness with wisdom. It's not that to be humble, they kick you, I'll put you in jail until you drop dead and beg for mercy. No, it's not like that. You yourself, you see how lost you are, how you need to remember and meditate upon the Supreme Person. So I'll read only one paragraph here to remind us. But tomorrow we'll read all of it. The gopis of Vrindavan are so attached to Krishna that they were not satisfied simply with the rasa dance at night. They wanted to associate with him and enjoy his company during the daytime also. When Krishna went to the forest with his cowherd boyfriends and cows, the gopis did not physically take part, but their hearts went with him. And because their hearts went, they were able to enjoy his company through strong feeling of separation. To acquire this strong feeling of separation is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya and his direct disciplic succession of Goswamis. When we are not in physical contact with Krishna, we can associate with him like the gopis, through feelings of separation. Krishna's transcendental form, qualities, and pastimes and entourage are all identical with him. There are 9 different kinds of devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna in feeling of separation elevates the devotee to the highest perfectional level, to the level of the gopis, the highest stage of love for God. But instead of trying to ascend to that, we must follow the process. Learn, understand the basic foundation, spiritual foundation of our true transcendental nature, our true eternal work and function. And not only that, what we're always longing, we're longing for a person to love, to give our heart. Then you look around, you gamble. You know, we become gamblers. We have this opportunity to really have someone who can protect us, the controller, the Lord of love, the self-sufficient, eternal friend who has unconditional love for us. But we gamble by betting what the mind tells us. And who won? Who won? Nobody wins. There's 8,400,000 species of life here in this universe, beginning from the demigods to the insignificant teeny amoeba. So we bet, we gamble our time, we use this precious time we have. Because the reason we do that, we are not in this world of pure loving service of the Supreme Person. And now we can understand, wow, that is the eternal connection that is inseparable from me. And the gopis of Vrindavan, the devotees of Vrindavan, all the cowherd boys, Mother Yasoda, Lord Chaitanya, Haridas Thakur, Lord Jesus Christ, they're in that state. Do I want that world? That is the question you answer yourself. Do I want that world of happiness? Then if you want it, then you must take the walk, because nobody will walk for you. That's why this nonsense idea that you join this group, be saved, this is nonsense. It's not true. Because you should do and engage in activities that you yourself will experience this humbleness and the sweetness of God's embrace by surrendering to Him. And it comes when you're always remembering Him by chanting His glories, His pastimes, and remembering the love that our Gurudev and the instructing spiritual master narrating to us the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And it becomes our meditation. The more you chant, when you chant, you remember Krishna. Krishna reveals Himself to you when you become purified. Because the mind now is not the ascending method that you're using to reach God, but rather the descending method coming from the instructing spiritual master narrating to us the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So we have this Govardhan Puja coming. So when you're chanting, you remember Lord Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill and all the devotees there. But it's not something you try to imagine. It comes naturally when you are chanting the holy names, because Krishna manifests to you and manifests in your mind. So when you walk, you may be like these ordinary people around, but your meditation is different. Just like the gopis in Vrindavan. They're taking care of their kids, cooking, baiting everything, but their mind is simply on the beautiful transcendental sweetness of Krishna's smile, his pastimes with his cowherd voice. They're not of this material world. And that is the process that is transcendental given to us. Begins with the chanting of the holy names. So when you chant, God reveals himself to you, how much you desire, how much you want. If your maturity of your surrender is 10%, or put it 0.001, that is only your understanding and attachment to Krishna. But if you follow the instruction of Lord Jesus Christ, what he did, my dear Lord, I commend my life to you. Let this cup pass as you will. And we follow his teaching. One must give and offer his love the Supreme Person with thy whole heart, thy whole mind, thy whole being, 100%. So that is perfection. Then you ask yourself, am I focused in that direction? How much am I loving God? If your surrender, your activities is only 5%, then your attachment to God is 5%. You understand? So if you give your life, your whole being, and embrace Krishna, then you have Krishna 100%. And that will be your shelter, your protection. That is why the spiritual master gives us Krishna. He wants our relationship sustainable. He does not pose as someone sitting there telling us, surrender to me, bow down and I'll walk for you. He doesn't do that. That's why he writes so many narrative about the pastimes of the Supreme Person. His activities eternally passed down by God himself through the science that he wrote, Bhagavad Gita, the Word of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Lord Krishna, the Vedas in relationship with the relationship of Lord Krishna and the devotees. So all of us can meditate, read it, meditate, and then we listen to our Gurudev. If we have question, we ask, my dear Gurudev, is my understanding correct or is just my mind? That is the value of having someone who is a lover of God, who sees God, so he can, in the beginning, we cannot differentiate between the mind and us. But when we chant, we can now differentiate the mind. We can see the desire. And we can see now the desire of trying to pursue activities, enticing us. Eat this, go for this, love this person. We see that, it's a dead world. What my desire should be, what's in my heart. What is in your heart, all of you? You want happiness. But the mind is not happiness. The mind is not eternal. It does not exist in the spiritual world. But you can direct the mind. You can direct the desire to become transcendental when it's connected with your heart, longing for love under the direction of God himself, Krishna, telling us, love him, embrace him, glorify him. That is the process of Bhakti Yoga. It's not the ascending method. Because if the process is surrender and, okay, just follow me, it means the spiritual master will walk for you, carry you? No. Because he does not pose as someone who is a supreme controller. How do he relate to us? By expressing his love for us, teaching us, just like a mother teaches the kid or a teacher teach the students how to progress. In this case, to progress in their connection amiably in sweetness of loving surrender to the Supreme Person. And he is the manifestation of that personification of that love, that when we follow him, we enter that world. Just like when we remember the pastimes of the gopis, remembering Lord Krishna, we can see, wow, that is a transcendental connection. So now we don't gamble our time that is temporarily, that this body is connected with. We now focus on what is really valuable to us, our love, our heart. And Be intelligent. If you try to follow your mind, then you're going to suffer in this world. Because you'll be throwing your love away to so many things, activities that has no value, irrelevant, not connected with real transcendental happiness. And you're longing for happiness. All of you here wants joy. Nobody here wants to enter a burning forest. But we're in this burning forest, this body. This body is full of desires, the mind, the demands of the senses, the demands of the mind. So when we come in contact with the ambassador, the personification of God, love for us, our Guru Dev, the pure loving servant of God, who is a resident of the spiritual world, teaching us how we can direct our eternal love, what is inseparable from us, in an absolute shelter, refuge, Krishna. That should be our meditation, just like the gopis of Vrindavan. So if you study clearly, Krishna never leaves them, because their meditation is always Krishna. Going to the forest with his cowherd boys, coming home in the evening, being fed by Mother Yasoda, killing all the demons, the mind becomes Krishnaized. And the activities we do with the 9 process of devotional service, this body, who our senses, the horses, are now directed, harnessed by the mind, because the mind is always in meditation with the supreme controller, the cause of all causes. And now he controls our mind with love. Our shelter, the shelter of the mind is Krishna. We are not anymore struggling, but we are now in harmony, what is natural for us. So we can check now if the process comes, the chanting, the offering, and we squeal, we cringe, we turn our face, I don't want to hear it. So it means we are very diseased and sick. We're not progressing. When Lord Chaitanya came here 500 years ago, when he sees a river, Jamuna, in ecstasy, in meditation, he jumps in the river, even though it's not Jamuna River. He sees a cow, he sees Krishna. Everything becomes Krishnaized. That is the process. God coming to us. We don't need to ascend to him, but rather we receive. But we're so arrogant. I don't want it. I just want to embrace my wife, my husband, my boyfriend. I want to take shelter of this condominium, with the air conditioning, because it's outside. I have to work very hard to have a convenient life in this body. And at the end, you die with cancer. At the end, you die like a rat. Live like a king, die like a rat. The consciousness is, eat today, be merry today, because tomorrow you die. You die like a rat. And not only that, while living, you're already very miserable. And the misery you experience is the anger, the burning envy, the unsatisfaction in the heart. And you ask this question, why am I not happy? Because you're ignorant of your relationship of Krishna. You're not in meditation of Krishna. You're not pleasing to him. Because if you're pleasing to him, you have the joy of that love. So you ask yourself, am I pleasing to Krishna? Am I loving him? Am I loving the Father? Or is just somebody there in the church, in this picture, and I do my own thing? You have to assess, because life, spiritual life, is an individual process that you apply in your life. That's why the spiritual master gives you Krishna, so your spiritual life becomes sustainable if you take shelter of Lord Krishna through hearing and chanting, to the 9 process of devotional service. And not only that, through his mercy and love. If you take this gift, Krishna becomes pleased. Just like if you take the ambassador who comes here from Russia and is well welcomed, loved, cared, and he goes home. Filipino people are so kind, The ladies there are so beautiful and really caring, That's why I want to marry a Filipina. And the Filipina naman, I want honey and roses, United States of America. So you go to the, you follow the mind, Go to the internet. You don't know the person is there. We need some, prostitutes now. We need Filipina people. You pose as someone who's looking for a bride, And you're there. Show me your stuff, man. You show your breasts. This is what I got. They show their legs. They wear sexy dress to show what they got. They're selling themselves, prostituting. Actually, that's very simple because the body you're prostituting does not belong to you. And you're trying to find security by offering this body. A gamble. I'm gonna bet my body. But you don't know the person there out in Russia, their program is, okay, my Filipino people are so stupid, when they come here, we'll chop them into pieces and get their body parts and sell it to the Chinese, the liver, the heart, everything, take care of it, And everybody do business by this is a cruel world and the most dangerous place. Because the people here are all master, trying to be master, to be controller. And we think, wow, I'm in heaven, Open your eyes. Take this opportunity, that the blessing that we have received. Don't throw the love that is there. If you want to be happy. The only way a person can be happy when his love for Lord Krishna is established, and that can be established, that pure loving service can be established through the simple process of loving remembrance. And the easiest way for remembering the Supreme Person is through the chanting His glories and pastimes. That is the process that is given to us. So it's up to you. If you want that process, take advantage of it. Take the love that Krishna is giving you and hope you take it. Haribol Namaste.
Haribol, Nitay Gaur. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthaya Te. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana.
Bhagi Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Garadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Radha Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Krishna Mohana,
Hare Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Hari Bol Krishna Hari Bol Krishna Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala 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 Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Shri Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Shri Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Navine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Te